Can you tell me what state you live in?
Oh, South Carolina.
Okay, very good. And how old is your child?
11.
And what is the special need that he has?
Cerebral palsy.
Can you describe the challenges that you've been facing with your school system?
So the challenges that I have been facing is basically getting people to understand his disability and what is really affected, and to stop putting intellectual disabled on everything before you actually assess him properly, him or her properly. And also, the other thing would be them actually being knowledgeable of the disabilities and the effects it has on kids, and having the proper accommodations and the proper professionals to actually assess the kids.
That sounds like a lot.
Right.
So, how have you been feeling about dealing with the school system?
I get anxiety when it's time for a meeting or prepare. I hate it with the past. I have to come to a realization, if I don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. And I think this last meeting I had with them really opened up my eyes more, that they don't know what they're doing. They're just using their tactics to try to get what they want.
Congratulations on completing the Parents Playbook for Special Education Success. I know that was a lot of work.
Now they're acting like, oh, we didn't get a vision paperwork from you. How you didn't if you had a vision teacher for him? That made no sense. She was like, well, we want to look over it and to see if it's acceptable, because I told them, they said they didn't want to do a hearing. They didn't want to pay for him a hearing assessment. I said, okay, well, that means you don't have one if you aren't going to pay for it, because it's supposed to be free appropriate education. And so they was like, well, we have yours. I said, well, are you going to give me my refund for it? They was like, oh, yeah, send us the invoice. We'll give it to you. I'm like, okay, well, I also need the invoice paid for vision too. A lot of things and accommodations that we went over, we talked about. I keep requesting different accommodations. So when Able South Carolina seen my accommodations and stuff I was requesting, they were proud. They was like, oh my gosh, I don't see many parents, asking for these things. And I'm like, no, I want every little thing they have, because it's not fair for you to have all these options, but you don't give anyone any. It's probably except people that you know.
So those accommodations that you asked for, were those things that you learned from the Parents Playbook course?
Yeah, a lot of them was already on there. Some of them I knew about. Other ones I didn't, but I still, asked. And also some of them were on the hearing and the vision.
Mm-hmm.
But they tried to downplay the hearing part, and that's my problem right now. Because my son, he did qualify for low-grade hearing aids.
Okay.
For the deficit they said he had. So they're like, oh, well, we'll get the little microphone or whatever it is to let him use in the class.
The FM system.
Yeah. And then the functional behavior assessment, they were like, well, we have to wait till school starts back. I was like, well, no, you don't, because you just told me you were taking notes all last year in the class. So why do you need to wait? You already have all your evidence.
They can also do it if he's going to ESY. They can do it there.
Yeah, that's what my attorney said as well. They can do it there. And then the lady that was kept saying that, she was like, well, we want to wait till he comes back because we want to make sure his vision and hearing. And I said, so you do agree with me that his vision and hearing needs to be appropriate in order to do the test? She was like, I didn't say that. I was like, well, you just said we wanted to wait till you come back and his hearing and vision, he have his hearing aids and everything. And she got upset. I was like, but you said it. But if it works in your favor, we do it. But in my son's favor, we don't. It makes no sense.
They can't have it both ways.
In the private notice, oh, Miss Ross said you wanted to wait. No, you said that we would wait until then. But I was telling you, you couldn't I told the attorney, and I told his attorney, you can't have an assessment on the child, and you do not have his vision and hearing appropriate. But their psychologist, the one that was the intern at the time, was there. And she said, well, my professional experience, ma'am, you can shovel that. But I keep saying your professional experience because you have not even been in this position long. You have a professional experience. So, that doesn't work. But you can tell when people are lying, they're getting very upset. And I'm like, I don't understand. I should be the one upset because it's my child that has lost out on educational time.
Right. Exactly. Let me ask you, did you feel like you needed to be an attorney to understand the Parents Playbook?
No, you don't have to be an attorney, but it makes you feel like you are one. It makes you feel like you are one at the end of the day, and it makes them upset that you are coming with these things.
So if you decided to take your school system to a due process hearing and let's say do it by yourself without an attorney, do you feel more confident that that's something you could do since you've taken the class?
A little more confident. That's something that I could do, and I was thinking about doing it. And the other part I caught them up on is that they put in at the end, what is it called, the alternate testing. He last year he was in sixth grade. They put him back in alternate testing, and was like, oh, he's always been in this, and I never agreed to it. So they put him back in there, and at the back of the draft IEP, they put on there the details for alternate testing, and it says in black and white, alternate testing is for kids with severe cognitive disability. I said, so why is my son taking alternate and he does not have a severe cognitive disability? So the lady from the district was like, well, let's just look at his test scores. No, no, no. It says it's supposed to have a severe cognitive disability, so I'm confused. So she looked at it and said, oh, he went up by 46 points. Well, let's just think of what he could have went up to if we would have moved him years ago.
That's unbelievable.
And that's just being in that class less than a year. So that's crazy to me. And then the vision part, the OT lady, she did say, well, yeah, Messiah is doing better, as long as he keep his glasses on, because he'll take his glasses off and bite on the ear part of it when he's just sitting there thinking. And so I was like, okay, so what you're saying is that because of his glasses, it has become better for him to do stuff in OT. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
So once vision and hearing get remediated to a greater degree, then his other test scores will increase, like his cognitive scores will increase, because a lot of those tests, the subtests, are based on good vision and hearing skills. So if there are impairments there that aren't treated, then of course the IQ is going to look lower. So vision and hearing have to be fixed first, and then a child's IQ should be tested. That's how that should work.
Right.
But schools never do it that way. So let me ask you this. Would you recommend the Parents Playbook to other parents? And if so, why?
Yeah. I did recommend it to a lot of parents.
You did?
Like a lot of parents do not know or really understand the rights that they have and the rights that the kids have. And a lot of them give up.
Mm-hmm.
I've met a lot of them, and it broke my heart because I would go to them and I would ask them, hey, I get my son this. That I see him regressing. I don't see him progressing. And they're like, oh, I had those issues as well. I went to the meetings and everything, but I just said forget it. And I'm like, no. Something is wrong, because my thing is, how will my son function if I'm not here?
Right.
How will he function as an adult if it's not fixed now?
You're right. Well, he's very lucky to have you, and that you won't give up. That's so important. So how do you feel about your ability to help him now compared to, say, 3 months ago before you started taking the course?
I feel like sometimes I sit down and I cry about it, because I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known these in the beginning when he was in preschool and first grade, and I could have did something better to help him. I have other people that's like, oh, it's not your fault. They should have, they should have told you.
Right.
They should have let you know. They should have gave you other options, but no one did. But it still hurt at the same time. Like, I just wish I would have just took him out. Part of me wish I would have just took him out of special education altogether in the beginning and just let him fly and see what happened. But now, when I had that conversation with the lady over special education, I asked her, she was like, well, why don't you just take him out of special education? I'm like, well, it sounds like you want special education, but you don't. And I'm like, well, it sounds like you want the money, but you really don't want to help the children. So which one is worse? My thing is that if you give kids the appropriate accommodations, they will be able to succeed. And I know this from experience, because I've been to school many years myself, and I know in order for me to study, it has to be a certain way for me to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize everyone is different. Everyone studies different. Everyone learns different. But if you're not helping this person do it differently, like they can learn, it's not going to work.
Right.
And for them to just keep holding him on a lower level, and he's at ESY, and the teacher's telling me, oh, yeah, he's doing good at this. He's doing good at that. So why are these still his goals? Because you just want to throw something there and not do anything else.
Well, they're definitely messing with the wrong mama.
Yeah, they don't like it, and I don't care. I just get real bad anxiety, because I never want to say the wrong thing to mess my son or myself up.
Right.
So that's why my anxiety go on 10 before going, because there's so many things I want to say, but it's like I cannot say that at this moment.
Right. And just, keep reviewing the modules before you go to the meeting, so you keep it fresh in your mind, and take notes, come in with notes, be prepared. And the evaluations are really important. to make sure that the goals are correct, that they're appropriate, based on his current levels of performance and all of those things. But you know what to do now.
Yes, and when I was going through the modules, and I think we had a meeting in February for an IEP meeting, and then I was looking through the modules, I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know that I could write an addendum, and they put for when they made the changes to his testing. I was hurt. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have seen this earlier, because I did not want him moved, because you did not have proper assessments or proper placement for him to make a call as he needed constant testing. But they listened to what they call their professionals, which is not so professional.
And none of their professionals know about these processing issues. So they think they're so professional, but they're missing a huge piece of the puzzle and they don't even know it.
And I ask them every meeting, does anyone know what cerebral palsy is? And nobody says anything. I think one meeting the facilitator said they do because her daughter or son had cerebral palsy. But none of you do. So how are you justified to make decisions for someone you have no idea of what they're going through?
Right.
How is that possible? And then I asked them in this meeting, do anybody know what a hearing deficit is? Does anybody even know? And they were looking like, well, I mean, we have the lady from the district here for, no, but y'all are making the decisions. The lady from the district is making no decision.
Amazing.
If you don't know what it is, how can you make a determination for a child? And you would want to research it and do your own judgment before even coming in the meeting. Instead of saying, oh, we have the person from the district here. You don't even know if what you said was correct. You couldn't be saying anything.
Juliet, you don't need a lawyer. You are the lawyer. You've got the confidence. You've got it. You're good. You could do this. You could become a professional advocate for other parents if you wanted to.
I would not mind doing that. When I was in the bathroom, I think it was a part, I don't know if you said it or someone else said it, or I read it there. It's basically I have to act like this is not my child, but still be an advocate for someone else.
Yes.
Because when I know he's my child, emotions go everywhere.
Right.
But if it's someone else's child, it's still emotions, but it's not as emotions like I want to jump over the table on you. It's emotions as, okay, I have this evidence, and you're not doing the right thing. Because I've had advocates that come and they just be bullies, and they don't get anywhere. Right. But when you have advocates that have confidence and they have information under their belt, then that's different.
Right. Exactly. And that's what the class attempts to teach parents, to have the knowledge and the confidence. So yeah, the confidence comes from the knowledge or the competence. It's a cycle. So once you feel more competent, that you know the information, you know the law, you understand special education and how an IEP should be written properly and what the evaluations mean and all these things, then you feel confident. When someone walks in and like, I don't know what this means, I don't know what this is supposed to be, and you just take the school's word for it, then people don't feel confident. So that's the purpose for the course. And I'm so glad it sounds like it delivered that for you.
It did, and I was happy that it was still open when I looked at it the other day, because I was like, okay, I'm not going to have to wait for this addendum, because my attorney has not responded back. And I want to respond to these emails that he was like, don't respond, until I read it, so I know what's going on. I was like,
good. I'm so glad. Well, thank you so much for your time, Juliet. And please, keep me posted. Like if you do take them to a hearing, let me know how it turns out. The class is yours. You can keep looking back at it, as much as you want. So there's no limitations. You can continue to look back at it, refresh it. If I do major additions to the class, I'll send you an email and let you know, like I did the other day, just to make sure you're aware. Okay?
Okay.
And it was a pleasure. And thank you so much for referring other parents to the course. I truly appreciate you. And I hope we stay in touch.
Yes, ma'am. But just let me know when it opens so I can refer others, when you're doing it again.
Actually, I just have it open all the time now. So anyone can sign up anytime that they like. Yes. And what? Right.
I feel like it was a reason why I needed to go through this in order to learn about this. But I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. I'm so glad you got a lot out of the class, and I'm sure you're going to keep revisiting it. And I know that you'll keep referring parents to help other people too. And I truly appreciate that. It's been a pleasure knowing you, Juliet, and I wish you the best of luck.
No problem. Thank you. I will email you.
Great. I know you will from time to time. Let me know how Masai is doing. Okay, honey. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.